Don't we look fancy?
You're going to keep your headphones on?
Oh no.
All right. So the next generation of the particular brands that we are looking at went from commodities trading to manufacturing to internationalization of, let us do exports. This was pre-liberalization, so it was a big deal. They were doing exports. They had operations in other countries, which in the time of currency controls would not have been easy to manage, I'm sure. We remember the stories of being allowed to carry only a few dollars when you flew out and having to manage on that. They built an international, a multinational conglomerate much before it was even kind of easy to do that. So great, nicely done. The next generation, Mr. Aditya Birla, he started the process of internationalization of, let us take this thing that we have built, the expertise that we have here, and let us take it out into the world. So they started exporting, they started setting up manufacturing units in other countries. Really cool to be able to do that before liberalization. Generally, that was hard to pull off. And the next generation, Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla, he was brought to the helm at just the age of 28.
Hello and welcome to another live episode of Hype Cycles live from Jayanagar in Bangalore. I am doxing us, I am well aware, but it's fine. It's not our place. Nitesh, what's been going on? How is Bangalore doing?
It's hot, but let's not start with the weather. I want to start on an appreciative note. Vineet and I went to Corner House a couple of days back, and it filled me with so much pride to see Vineet just walk in there, no hesitation. He went for the menu because he still is a tourist, but it was nice that he didn't do the, oh, so what is nice here? None of that. He went there, knew what he wanted, sort of, and just straight up ordered. So it made me really proud.
It's Corner House. It is Corner House. Yeah, Corner House is amazing.
Yeah, it just works.
I must have mostly given up ice cream, but I cannot give up on Corner House.
Genuinely, I'm not just saying this to
Corner House, we love you. We are not being paid by Corner House. This is not our paid influencer era just yet. I also bought a packet of Bisque Farm biscuits yesterday on Blinkit, which I have not tried yet.
Nice. Why are we doing product placements without getting paid for them?
The only thing left is Lenskart. I don't buy Lenskart anymore. This is not Lenskart.
Anyway, we had planned one solid story, and I fully intend to get to that. But we are recording on the last Saturday of March, and the financial year in India is April to March. So I want to do a year-end review. Again, I know I'm cheating a little bit, but we are in a studio, and something about being here, this makes me nostalgic. I want to do a year in passing or whatever. So just a quick update on some stories that we spoke about in the past year, and one that we didn't, but I still want to bring up because hilarious. There was an impromptu earnings call, sorry, not an earnings call, a conference call of HDFC Bank because the chairman of the board abruptly resigned. This is bad enough in any company. It's terrible for a bank, right? Because, like we discussed in the last episode, banks operate on trust. And the reason he gave ostensibly was uh, it was the language was vague, but certain ethical practices, something like that, like it was a nudge, wink, wink resignation letter. And markets hated it, as they should, because again, this is a bank and not just a bank. It's the largest bank, the largest constituent of the Nifty 50 in what is frankly a weak time for markets. So any bad news is just going to be amplified. There was an, I think I can call it that, an emergency call with analysts to try and allay fears before the market opened the second day. There was an absolute rout on the first day. Oh, none of this is investing advice. I'm sure all of us hold at least some shares of HDFC in one
directly or indirectly,
in
exactly.
one mutual fund or the other. So not intended as that. Not just this, anything we speak about in the next hour or so. During the call, the management said everything is fine. The chairman didn't tell us why he's resigning. Like, we know no more than you guys do from having read the letter.
But
He
everything
didn't
is
offer
fine.
any explanations, but everything is fine. Okay. Which again, I don't know what the point of that was, except to arrest the stock route. But then if you're going to do that, at least offer something concrete. Either you offer an explanation or you offer a scapegoat. That's the PR playbook for this, right? Like, we've identified the problem, it was this fucker, and we have thrown him or her out. Whatever. They did eventually fire a few people in their UAE office, but not the reason why I brought up this story. During the call, there were three interesting participants. One was the analyst from BlackRock, who, and I'm paraphrasing here, asked, "Okay, so you know no more than us. You are offering no extra information. How can you say everything is fine?" Either everything is fine because we investigated and here's the result, or we don't know, but we are looking into it. You don't know why your chairman resigned, but everything is fine. How does that work? That was a great question. There was another question from the analyst from the Abu Dhabi Investment Authority, again big shareholder and just big investor in general, saying, "Ho kya raha hai?" I'm paraphrasing. Okay, it was a very interesting call. The third one, and the reason I bring it up is that the third question was not from an investment fund; it was from Reuters. And straight away, if Reuters is on your call, something has gone horribly wrong.
I would not want Reuters on any of my investor calls. No.
I mean, how badly do you have to fuck up for a news agency to turn up? I mean, think about it. They have so many other avenues that they can reach out to you and ask you questions. They can call you for an interview, any of that. But they turned up on that call, which, if it was deliberate and calculated, genius. And if that was the only way that the Reuters person could ask a question, what are you doing, HDFC? The board I'm talking about. The person who has been appointed the chairman now said, yeah, all this happened yesterday. So the call was pre-market open the next day. They said, yeah, all this happened yesterday. And I wasn't here in Mumbai, which is where the office is, which is where the RBI is. I was in Delhi with my wife on a holiday. Like, pre-planned, whatever. I'm not casting any aspersions on him, but you are the largest bank in the country. Don't fly Indigo or Air India. You take a private jet and you come back the very same day, the very same moment that I have a meeting at the RBI. I'm heading back.
Yeah.
This is
No
a
private jets.
one-time
No private
event.
jets. No private jets. Economy business, ठीक है. No private jets.
Acha. All right. And second, the one name which is not at the board level, one step below, the deputy something, God, it escapes me, who is in the eye of the storm here. The analyst asked, or I think the Reuters reporter asked, why isn't that person on the call here? Clearly, they're not implicated, but at least involved, right? They know more. They could help us understand the situation better. Why aren't they here on this call? And the answer was, oh, no, they had a pre-scheduled health checkup. You know, those annual health checkups we do, the executive health checkups. And we didn't see any reason to call it off.
Wow.
So, yeah, we have full faith in that person and we're going to increase their responsibilities going forward. But yeah, not a health emergency, which I would totally understand. They're away on a routine health checkup. And remember, this was an early morning call. So, they call you while you're on an empty stomach,
To
etc.
be fair, you don't want to interrupt a Lal Path Labs schedule. वो फिर बेचारा कब आएगा? What is more important?
Near board level at HDFC.
And exactly, you said empty stomach, right? पूरा दिन खराब हो जाएगा. Nitesh, what is more important? Priorities.
So bizarre. I don't know what to say. I have no insight to offer on this except what the fuck, man, get your act together. Seriously, engage a good PR agency, spin it at least until you know what the problem is. If this was a tantrum or sign of bigger rot, whatever it is, you need to do better at messaging. So that was one.
Hmm.
Just why? No? Second, why is at the end of their previous earnings call, the Saregama music MD, we have discussed the music
Hmm.
industry in great depth, had ended the call by saying, so they had the rights to the Dhurandhar one. And I know I'm burying the lead there, but the the MD ended the call with a call to action to analysts. Guys, go out, watch the movie, listen to the music. It is fantastic. It's doing really well everywhere. And in his defense, it did do really well everywhere.
This is Dhurandhar we're talking about?
Dhurandhar 1.
Hmm.
The album did really well. Right?
It did.
The movie did, of course, but the album did spectacularly. Which, at least in part, was because they used a lot of Saregama's back catalog. Right? And they didn't get the rights to the sequel. That went to Tips.
But to be fair, nobody's talking about the music of Dhurandhar 2, really.
Which is exactly why I bring it up. A big part of why the music worked in
Yes.
one was because they had organic connections to Saregama's back catalog. Tips does not have that kind of depth, and even if they do, I'm guessing it was micromanaged, and therefore
But
the album.
the money we're talking about, you can buy rights to anything you want. Any samples, any old music you want, right?
Yeah, but what Saregama did was they benefited from Dhurandhar's volume coming to their original titles, which was not an expense, it was additional earnings.
Yeah, that is.
Whereas if Tips had gone on and acquired the rights to a specific ghazal, let's say, because Aditya Birla wanted it in the film, it would actually cost them money. Not that it matters, but the dynamics were reversed there. Here it was Saregama monetizing stuff they already own. And so on the next earnings call, an analyst asked, "What happened? You were promoting Dhurandhar 1, no? So how come you didn't get the rights to the sequel?" And the answer was, look, we shouldn't talk about individual titles. You spoke about the individual titles. So that was funny. And a third very recent development that I just want to touch upon before we get to the main story of the day is, did you know LVMH owns a vineyard in Nashik?
No, I have no idea.
So because duty structures are crazy high for alcohol in general, products in general, but specifically wines to protect the domestic industry. So when LVMH wanted to start selling,
Is Moet Chandon LVMH?
Yeah.
Oh, then I do know.
Louis Vuitton,
Yeah.
Moet, Hennessy,
Like Chandon has been suddenly 7-8 years ago, it got massively cheaper, the champagne.
because they set up a vineyard here.
Though, of course, if you go to a wine shop in Delhi, you don't ask for Chandon. They will give you Chandan.
Chandan, of course.
And that is not even a trope. That is exactly what they do tell you.
So the news is that Chandan just sold their Nashik vineyard to Sula, which on the face of it, okay, right? No, but there's a problem. India and EU have signed the trade deal. Over the next few years, those duties which compelled LVMH to set up the vineyard in the first place are almost going away.
Yeah.
So LVMH can just import their best wines from anywhere in Europe and sell them here. They don't need to have local operations.
Maybe that was part of the consideration when they were selling. So maybe Sula did not overpay.
From Sula's point of view, their business and therefore their stock price now is expected to absolutely greater because of the trade deal. Because if you're going to get a European wine for nearly the same price, why would you have an Indian wine, right? It's not like we have a long history and culture of winemaking on one side or really sophisticated palates on the other, right? Most wine drinking in India is performative.
I was going to say no or nothing, but yeah, fair.
Yeah, it's Chandan, man. My point stands.
But Chandan for 2,500 versus Moet Chandon for like 8,000. You go for Chandan.
So the reason Sula is buying is because they have no choice. They are going from being a winemaker to basically being a hospitality company. They're going to offer more wine tasting sessions, more stays, because most vineyards now in India are like bundled resorts slash boutique properties, and it's more experiential, which allows them to charge a little more. And just really sad. I mean, Sula was one of the pioneers. The Nashik region is wine producing, to my understanding, because of Sula. They were the pioneers, despite all the brands that came afterwards. It's kind of sad to see them struggling like that. I'm sure they got the asset for a wonderful price because LVMH just wanted out, and the consideration was 20 crores.
20 crores. That's it.
Yeah. So, like you said, I'm sure they got it at a great price. This is excluding stock and a few other things, but basically, Sula is doubling down on being a
20
hospitality.
crores of land value over here.
That's what I think. That's all the consideration was.
Then, so yeah, great deal.
Yeah, maybe, but it means that Sula is definitively now a hospitality company, not a winemaker. No.
थोड़ा improve करो, cold chain improve करो, थोड़ा wine improve करो, get better.
So they get fucked on taxes everywhere. Remember Bira?
Yeah.
How do you navigate a regulatory landscape like that?
Like I remember thinking after we did our episode on that, कि ठीक है, one side is they should have known, they should have foreseen, they should have hired a good, whatever, better lawyer, CA,
Yeah.
whatever. But just the fact that this exists, that an entire company can just die because the system is not equipped for a name change. A huge brand can just poof because the system cannot account for a legal name change. It is just utterly ridiculous. Yeah.
They had other problems. You can go back and listen to our episode. Go back, like anyone who's listened to it.
Traverse in time.
It's there.
Quick point on Saregama. This is a very funny aside, which is related to nothing. So, I came back to Bangalore for a day and a half because I was doing a session at IIM Bangalore on media strategy. And the other gentleman also there was the ex-MD of Saregama India. And apropos of nothing, in the middle of everything, he's like, by the way, AI is going to take over everything. All of you will be jobless. The only people with jobs will be delivery drivers.
He said this to a bunch of folks who are going to graduate soon.
Second year media strategy.
Nice.
And then he just moved on.
What does he do?
Retired.
Nice.
And wow. First, no, there are so many things so many thoughts I have. All I could do was my session. I was like, no. No. Carry on with life. Yeah.
Before we get to the main story, I was going to pop this in anyways. Sora's dead.
Sora's dead. I was going to come to that. There's a bunch of AI shit happening.
Go for it.
Sora's dead. So we did an episode on video AI last year where we did discuss that. AI video, I run a business that is now a lot of it is AI video, right? Sora was just uniquely stupid as a product. They tried to set it up as a meme generator social media platform from scratch. Not that this is a great way to make AI generated video and we will label to avoid misuse. Both labeling to, who gives a shit, right, about labeling. But yeah, they tried to create a whole new social media platform. And anyone who wants to set up a social media platform, no, don't. You will be a delivery driver in the future. No, I don't mean that. But yeah, it's just a ridiculous product that they were losing. Oh, this part applies to the rest of the industry too, that they were losing a ridiculous amount of money on every clip generated. Like any startup, right? Any business, you look at it profitability from two sides. One is, are the unit margins positive? So then you can afford to, splurge on marketing. Okay, the company is not profitable for a while. Right. But at least on every single product that you sell, you are making money. So at least there is a model there. so that over time, as you scale up, you will, recover that cost, and at least you'll become nicely profitable. Here, they were apparently losing $5 on every clip anyone was generating. Imagine $5 on every clip that anyone just types, show me as Super Mario fighting Bowser. $5. Oof. So it was uniquely silly as a business model, as a product, as what they were trying to do with it. Some of the AI cost, well, that's all I've discussed all of last year, right? Some of those chickens are coming home to roost. Claude has been pissing off people left, right, and center all week because without telling anyone, they increased their pricing massively. Middle of the week, suddenly people saw their token cost shooting up. End of the week, they announced that they're doing rush hour pricing. They're doing surge pricing. If you try to use tokens at a certain few hours of the day, you'll end up using double the tokens. They didn't say you will end up using double the tokens. They said your tokens will get used up faster. Naturally. Passive voice, right?
I
Passive
didn't
voice.
slap you. You got slapped by me.
Passive voice is what we have seen from political journalism all of the last 3 years. So passive voice works wonderfully here. So the enshittification of AI has finally begun. In fact, finally picked up speed. So yeah, everyone's pissed off with Claude right now. AI video otherwise is thriving. It is absolutely thriving, but the financials, again, we don't know how much Google and ByteDance are spending per clip. ByteDance, I'm assuming, because the Chinese models tend to be much more, they focus on efficiency.
Mhm.
Because the Americans are chasing valuations, right? The more you spend. In fact, funnily enough, Google open sourced a new algo on Thursday. This Thursday, as we're recording.
Mhm.
They're like offering a massive boost in memory efficiency.
Yeah.
And all the memory stocks crashed.
Yeah.
That's how you know nobody is focusing on the big picture, on actual efficiency, on actual use cases of AI. All the market cares about is rent seeking.
Yeah.
So yeah. So the assumption there is that ByteDance will focus on efficiency because they're not beholden to a global stock market as much as the Americans are. Google, they don't release separate figures, but we do know that they are burning through cash at a crazy pace. They have the ultimate money printing machine, Google AdWords, but they're burning through that free cash flow like anything. So they would also be, VO3 is one of the most popular models.
Mhm.
My assumption is still they would be spending crazy amounts on every clip that is generated.
What's your take on Sora failed because it was B2C, whereas Claude is doing better because its primary focus is B2B?
Two thoughts. One is absolutely yes, like we've discussed so many times all of last year, there is no B2C monetizable use case for AI.
Yeah.
We're still at zero. Zero. That Studio Ghibli meme is not going to make anyone money, that filter. Right. So absolutely yes. And also you don't want to try to launch a new social media network. That is not an area you want to compete. The second part is Sora doing worse than Claude. So Claude doesn't operate in the video space at all. But even Claude. So after we recorded our last episode, remember we discussed that Claude Code's ARR, Claude Code, the hottest AI product, ARR of $1 billion.
Yeah.
Right. Which is tiny. And we've been discussing Claude's ARR going, like OpenAI at some point was saying 10, then 12, then 13. And then they stopped releasing their ARR figures also because I think OpenAI now is losing. The only reason they're not declaring ARRs anymore is because they started
Really?
falling.
Yeah.
And the first time they fall, that's it, right?
Mhm.
Because it's all hype anyhow. Claude filed a case against the Department of War, not the Department of Defense,
Naturally.
a month and a half ago, because the US Department of War had blocked them. They said the security risk and all, they had a huge fight before their run was started.
Mhm.
So in these court filings, Anthropic said that total revenue till date from Claude, $5 billion in court filings. $5 billion till date. There is no industry here.
Crazy. Yeah.
There is just no industry here.
since you briefly mentioned the war, in the last 3-4 years since the AI hype cycle started,
Mhm.
stocks of the turbine manufacturing unit of GE in India and in the US have absolutely skyrocketed. They make gas turbines, which is turbines which are fed with natural gas and which generate electricity. Most large new data centers are using these for power generation because the grid cannot support them in most cases. So there's a back order on turbines. I think if you order a turbine today, you'll get it in 4 or 5 years. Their entire production capacity is booked out, but they still need natural gas,
Hmm.
which is facing a severe supply constraint. So the grid clearly cannot support all the capacity that is coming online. And now the alternative that the industry had found, which is we'll make our own electricity with blackjack and hookers, even that won't work now because they have a key raw material shortage or at least a massive increase in price, which they're already burning, literally setting piles of money on fire. So I don't know how much of that they can afford. Gas at twice or three times the price. I don't think they can sustain that.
That's an interesting one because, yeah, like the world, anyhow, before the war, before AI, had an energy crisis in the sense that we need to move towards renewables or the world is being set on fire, right? Of course, that runs against incentives as the world has been running on oil for so
You're
many
talking
years.
about climate change.
Climate change,
Right. Okay.
right? So there is an energy crisis that you want to reduce oil usage and increase renewables, right? At the same time, then you have the AI guys coming in who just need crazy, insane amounts of energy on top, energy that doesn't exist otherwise. Google was talking of reviving 3 Mile Island, right?
Yeah.
Getting nuclear back, which would have been cool actually.
Mm.
Then if the AI bubble pops, at least nuclear is back in power, baby. Very cool.
Right.
But now, if there is an energy crisis, if this war sustains, I think AI will be the first thing to be set on fire, to lose energy access, because then it actually becomes a binary between essentials, people being able to cook, people being able to have lights on in their house and use their elevators and stuff, versus
But again,
Claude generating big
your
booby
premise
Mario.
is that the system is incentivized to select the right thing. I don't think it is.
The system is absolutely not incentivized to select the right thing.
Yeah.
That is where pre-Iran war, you still had so much energy being sent to data centers when it should not have been, right? Because priority-wise, I mean, given the scale of the problems in the world today, where does AI, right? But with the Iran war coming in, I think it might tip over things, because if the basics start getting threatened, we'll see data centers going down. We'll see the immediate thing will be data centers will start not getting approvals. That will be the immediate thing. And anyhow, the data centers that have gotten approvals
Are not online.
are not online, like Abilene and all. All of them. Very few are online. They've said 2-year timeframes, but actually everyone knows it's not even an open secret. Everyone knows these things take 4 or 5 years to come up. The first thing we'll see is that new data centers stop getting approvals, because they're massive energy hogs, energies that the energy that the community doesn't have anymore to spare.
Can I make a prediction, which is a fool's errand on podcasts, but I'll stick my neck out anyways. I think this will push more and more people towards open source, locally hosted LLMs.
Yes.
So people are still going to be using LLMs. They will not be the bazooka that is Claude Opus, but it will still be the nice 22 caliber rifle that you can run on your M chip on any basic Apple laptop from even 3-4 years ago.
Yeah, because this we've discussed, right? That the big guys, the Anthropics and the Metas, well, Meta is nowhere in AI, but still, the Googles, they are not incentivized to focus on efficiency at all.
Yeah.
Right. In fact, it is the reverse. The more you talk about spending, the more you talk about capex, the more your valuation sort of keeps everything pumping, and the more a few rich people keep getting fatter, right? They have no incentive. But a person sitting at home, then trying to run on open source models, he is massively incentivized because he's seeing his electricity bill every month.
Yeah.
So yeah, yesterday I was talking to this friend who is gone down that open claw everything rabbit hole. He's now running an open source model on an Asus laptop at home.
Yeah.
On a 96 GB sort of rig.
No gas turbines required, no massive water required.
Well, energy is still required, right?
Yes, but
A lot of it is just, the open source models are much more efficient.
the RAM was already manufactured.
Yeah.
The GPU was already manufactured.
Yes.
Right? There is so much existing idle compute and memory out in the wild.
Yeah.
In all our homes.
And the first sign that the industry gets enshittified, which is going to happen, right, with pricing.
Yeah.
Like we know that the American tech industry is not very good at transparent pricing models. They don't know, they've forgotten how to be transparent about pricing. So it is not like suddenly they'll say that your Claude 10x or whatever they call their Pro Max plan, the $200 plan, it's not like tokens also are very fuzzy. Tokens and credits. How much is being used? They don't
Everything else in
transparently tell you.
AI runs on vibes. Why wouldn't metering?
Yeah. So it's not like suddenly they're going to open up and say, by the way, we have to increase prices because we've been subsidizing you too long. Therefore, now it will cost you this much to do this, this much to do this. They're not going to do that. It is going to happen like what happened this week, which is, surge pricing.
Yeah, you're going to
And then surge pricing becomes a new normal.
pay more for the same packet of biscuits and it's going to keep getting smaller.
And also because this happened in a week. Like, again, everything is being speedrun, right? So a week ago, Claude said that we are going to 2x your token availability on off-peak hours. And immediately someone replied saying, oh, the enshittification begin because now you start using more, you won't realize. And then suddenly they're going to say later that this means that during peak hours, you're going to start using more tokens. And the reply from, I think, their head of product was like, no, dude, it's not that deep. It's just more tokens for you. 1 week later, they do exactly what the guy said. 1 week later.
Sounds like an Iran war headline. We are definitely not going to do this thing. 3 days later, the thing.
It's always sunny in Philadelphia. Credit scene. So yeah, that's what's been going on in the AI front.
Yeah, just another sad reminder of that entire circus. My main story of the day is more a couple of observations. One I think is verifiable. The other is speculation on my part. Again, before I begin, lots of listed companies here. I don't think I own any of them, but I don't know. Not a recommendation, one way or another. If you remember the movies of the 80s and 90s, Hindi movies specifically, the way we use the Adani and Ambani name now in punchlines to imply that we are not so rich. What name was used in the 80s and 90s? It was the Tatas and the Birlas, right? I actually looked. I distinctly remember a Kader Khan movie with this specific dialogue, but I couldn't find it. Sorry for that. We are not the Tatas or the Birlas, and therefore you cannot do this. The Birla family, the Tata family, we've spoken about, the Tata group we've spoken about earlier. I think we need to take a slightly closer look at the Birlas as well. Massive clan. I don't think we can cover all the branches of it. 5 or 6 at last count. Multiple splits across generations. But I will start at the beginning. They were commodities traders, jute and cotton and the like. And 150-year legacy at least from the very first trading company. And in the 1920s, they were a big part of the Swadeshi movement. All right. So the next generation of the particular branch that we are looking at went from commodities trading to manufacturing to internationalization of, let us do exports. This was pre-liberalization, so it was a big deal. They were doing exports. They had operations in other countries, which in the time of currency controls would not have been easy to manage, I'm sure. We remember the stories of being allowed to carry only a few dollars when you flew out and having to manage on that. All right. commendable. They built an international, a multinational conglomerate much before it was even kind of easy to do that. The next generation, Mr. Aditya Vikram Birla, he started the process of thing that we have built, the expertise that we have here, and let us take it out into the world. So they started exporting, they started setting up manufacturing units in other countries. Really cool to be able to do that before liberalization. Genuinely, that was hard to pull off. And the next generation, Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla, he was brought to the helm at the age of 28. And it was really tragic circumstances. Everyone assumed that he would have at least like a decade, if not more, of grooming before he would be able to take charge of such a sprawling empire. This is what it was already. He has nearly 50x'd it in turnover terms since he came on board as a 28-year-old, and with amazing clarity, identifying the right industries, uh, doing some really bold acquisitions. Now, their Novelis acquisition. Novelis is a US-based aluminum manufacturer, so they own Hindalco. So they understand aluminum manufacturing. Oh, we should do an episode on aluminum, or at least a segment on that. Aluminum manufacturing is basically converting electricity into stuff. So much of aluminum manufacturing is just power, electricity. It's crazy. Anyways, Hindalco acquired Novelis, which is a massive US manufacturer. This was around the time that Tata Steel acquired Chorus. So Indian multinationals were having a bit of a moment. I'll give them that. But still, brave acquisition. And it has mostly turned out well. They're doing all right. Like any good conglomerate, they have a bunch of businesses, but they all trace their roots back to the commodity trading history of the Birla Group. In that, it's mostly commodities. Carbon black, aluminum, cement is their largest thing. Ultratech, they own Ultratech Cement. So again, classic. It is a right business to be in a country that is expanding like crazy. You're building roads, you're building factories, you're building houses, whatever. You need cement, you need aluminum. These are good businesses to be in. Uh, no shade on Ultratech, but cement is famously prone to cartelization.
Mm.
Because you have like the same 3 or 4 manufacturers, and this is not just an India thing, right? Although it has quite a checkered past in India of you're all making the same product. There's no brand as such. You all tend to have the same prices, so you just get together and decide a price. It works out great for everybody except the end buyer. Why do you keep looking at your watch?
I got a message.
Okay.
Sorry.
I thought I'm boring.
No, I listen to CA messages. I need to listen to CA messages.
I'm getting to the point very quickly.
It was a message from my CA. It is the end of the year. Nothing personal. You have a beard because of the end of the year.
I had a joke ready, but you didn't ask. I am not going to shave until the Strait of Hormuz is open. I kid. Anyway, so they were in the commodities, in the, let's say, not final but later stages of nation building, which was their core proposition. In the last 5 years, they've aggressively moved from the largely commodity or commodity centric businesses. Like they have a cotton and synthetic fiber manufacturing business, so it made sense that they got into fashion. It was just vertical integration. But in the last 4 or 5 years, they have expanded into a lot of new industries which are really competitive, which have no obvious connection to their existing businesses, like paints. Famously, we have discussed. They launched a new brand of paint with massive capex and said we're going to be, in the top 3. They didn't say it as
Opus,
much.
right?
Yeah, Birla Opus. They had their paint adjacent products, Birla Putty and all that. But to get into decorative paints was a big bet. But
And also,
still,
it seems, it's a total aside, but it seems that all the paint guys are getting into services. which just seems like something that has happened in the last 5 years. Since Urban Clap came, I don't know, whatever, but Nerolac, Berger, everyone seems
Offering the
offering paint as a
painting
service,
itself.
painting
Right.
as a service,
Right.
which seems
right,
very
right.
new to me and seems very suddenly everyone is doing it. Any thoughts?
I don't think they will make much headway in this. People might engage them for minor repair work where the unit economics are low.
Hmm.
But for a larger contract, I don't think their quotes are competitive. I'm not singling out Asian Paints or Opus, but your neighborhood painter can still do a better job. Maybe they have their SOPs or whatever, but you can't see that. All you see is the finished wall, and it's hard to differentiate.
No, paint has a lot of variation in quality, paint work. Definitely.
How much of it would you attribute to the paint and how much to the painter?
Painter.
Yeah.
Right. I would attribute a lot to the painter.
Okay.
So
Maybe this is your more visual forward sense of looking at stuff. For me, a white wall is a white wall.
fair. Like I worked in commercial interiors with my dad for a few years. So
How many fucking careers have you had, man?
I have.
I am afraid to discuss new businesses with you because you bring up a person going, I did that 20 years back. What the fuck?
This is like 6-7 years ago. Pre-startup.
Vineet, you're the original ex se mera purana nata.
Paint quality, paint workmanship matters.
It doesn't.
Anyhow, coming back.
Anyway, so, all right, still you had a Birla Patti, you had a supply chain. All right, fine, I'll allow it. Not that anybody asked me, but jewelry, they have a new brand called Indriya. They're investing heavily in that. You have to, right? Inventory, gold is really bloody expensive. You're taking on Tanish and a whole long tail of competitors right behind them. Again, really capital intensive. So this is part of a pattern, right? They have, I don't know how much of this is being driven by the next generation that's coming in. Aryaman and what's Kumar Birla's daughter's name? The retired singer Ananya Birla, I think. I think so. She had a brief singing career, and the Birlas.
I would guess Ananya.
Yeah, I think it's her.
I'm
terrible with
anyone you ask me, acha, give me this 20 to 25-year-old woman's name, I would guess Ananya.
You're making a okay. Yeah. All right.
And if it's like 10 to 15, then I would guess Anya.
Right. Okay.
You don't have any kids called Anya, do you?
No. I consider no. The Birlas own Applause Entertainment, which is a production house which made Scam 92, which is one of, if not the best web series to come out of it.
Oh man, Scam is so good. The original one. So good.
Phenomenal.
You all should watch it. We are not being paid to do this, but you absolutely all should watch that show. It is fantastic.
Yeah. It is great. And it does not dumb down what was pretty complicated finance shenanigans, right? Super. So Applause Entertainment is owned by the Birlas. The Birlas just announced that they're starting a film studio under being spearheaded by Ananya again, I think. So, and finally, the headline of this week was them getting into sports. They took a stake in my local team, the Royal Challengers Bangalore. Not a stake, they bought it out, but they're part of a consortium that has purchased RCB, Royal Challengers.
Can I reference a tweet?
Sure.
And the response to that tweet. I know it's political, but I do want to read this out. This is hilarious. So a businessman who is the brother of another businessman, I won't name them, says Rajasthan Royals acquired for roughly 270 crores in 2008 has just been sold for over 15,000 crores. Royal Challengers Bangalore acquired for 485 crores, sold for 16,600 crores. That value was built by the architecture of the IPL, blah, 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 the governance that gave brands confidence to invest at premium levels. Much of this traces back to the vision of Jay Shah. The reply from a Mr. Lalit Kumar Modi on Twitter. 6 words. You serious? You are a clown. The tweet has a community note even before Lalit Modi got into the mix, saying IPL was founded by Lalit Modi and not Jay Shah. It traces back to the vision of Lalit Modi.
Guys, why am I saying guys? For anyone who's listening, please check out Acquired's episode of IPL and just check out Acquired in general.
Mhm.
Super podcast. Their IPL research is just, they knocked it out of the park. Really, it's amazing, right? Definitely watch that. Where was I?
Why did you say, why am I saying guys?
Because guys, hi guys, is such a vlogger thing to do.
Guys always reminds me of this amazing tweet. In fact, no, it was a screenshot from a Slack group where this guy, and this become really famous, a screenshot. So on a random guy on his office Slack says, all caps, guys, I'm stuck in the WeWork lift. WeWork is a co-working space, right? I'm guessing his office was there. There's an automatic reply from a Slack bot. Please do not use language like guys. It is gendered. We prefer to be very inclusive here. Immediate reply from that guy again in all caps. Folks, I'm stuck in the WeWork lift.
Nice. So they've also, the Aditya Birla Group has a venture arm and they've invested in Mokobara, which you referenced the last time you were here. So they're on the cap table there among a bunch of other new age brands.
Tell them that there is a world outside Bangalore also, where no one ever seems to have heard of Mukubara.
They have also bought out restaurant chains. They own Hakkasan. They own Yoacha, which is fine dining. So I don't see a common thread in all of these, except, I mean, films, fine dining, jewelry. They did a split of their fashion business into the legacy brands, the Louis Philippe and all those on one side, and the new brands. They own Bewakoof, the brand. They own Tomorrow, I think the brand is called. I don't know. They have a
TM out
bunch
of
of
you, right?
these.
That
Yeah,
yeah.
they have a bunch of these. They have started a B2B marketplace for construction materials.
You think they'd want to acquire a tech and business news podcast?
Even if they do, we'll last on.
We have 6 listeners. 6 high value listeners, like
So
cred level listeners.
what's
Each of you probably has like 20 lakh cred points plus.
what is the common theme here?
Is that a rhetorical question or do you have an answer? I have a thesis.
Sure, go ahead.
We've talked about ease of doing business, right? Especially in manufacturing in
Mhm.
India and how it seems to have managed without a trace.
Yeah.
Like when you have a huge supportive ecosystem to build up MSMEs from scratch, that is when you have a huge competitive scenario. You have a bunch of companies entering. As that ease of you doing business disappears, smaller companies don't come into the fray because manufacturing is just really, really hard in India right now.
Mhm.
So the bigger guys absolutely should be doing more, and they can do more if they are ambitious. It is much easier for them to navigate these waters and actually run a conglomerate. Conglomerates, I think, mostly by definition, mean there is a lack of ease of doing business. Because if one family business
Mhm.
can spread their wings into 50 things, that means, like you're saying, they're not specialized in any of them. There's no common thread. Then what is making them successful is other factors like an environment that does not favor upstarts.
Interesting. You're saying conglomerates are a form of influence arbitrage.
Yes.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. All right.
Otherwise, except in rare circumstances, they should not exist.
Cool. I'm going to arrive at the same place, but from a different direction and in not so few words. I think that Mr. Kumar Mangalam Birla has rightly identified that the nation building phase of our journey as a nation is starting to peter out
So the nation is built.
to the extent that it will be.
How? Oh, okay.
I'm saying the pace.
Yeah.
The pace is going to start letting off from now. You can see this in the data. Uh, Listed companies are not doing capex.
Yeah.
Famously, they've been called out for this by the government. This isn't me saying this.
And we had an episode, right, where we discussed that younger generation would rather be financial managers.
Yeah.
Which also you had said is not bad, right? You put your money like buying Bevkoof, buying tomorrow,
Yeah,
rather than
they're helping entrepreneurship in their own way.
Yeah.
To spread it forward. No, but I'm saying it makes sense for strategically for the group to go downstream as we move from this insane construction phase where so much of cement and aluminum and carbon black and everything else was required to. It is going to continue to be used. And I'm not saying these businesses are going away or we're going to stop constructing roads or highways, but the pace, the degree of change, the delta is going to start slowing down from here onwards because we have a massive base now. Just based on that, the huge base that we have, there is going to be a slowdown here. What will not slow down is consumption. So all these new things that they're doing are all on the consumption side, not on the manufacturing side.
Yeah.
So it is it's very intentional, and in part, yes, what Vinith says makes sense. That manufacturing is hard. Why would you want to put your energy there, even if you are world class at getting approvals or to get a factory built in India? Even if you are world class at that, there are easier ways to make money. So maybe in part it is that, but I think
No, it's not just so manufacturing is hard, yes, but even for example jewelry, right? Just the sheer amount of approvals required, importing stuff,
yeah,
doing all that is just much easier for a conglomerate
than for you or me as a startup.
Yeah.
Fair.
Even with the same finance allocation, there is a huge difference.
Fair. Yeah, because there are so many doors that just aren't going to be open to us.
Yeah.
No. Agreed. Makes sense. Again, without passing judgment on the arrangement as it is, so to speak, I think what the Birlas are doing with everything that they've initiated now, and which is going to take a good 10 or 15 years to pan out, is they're getting ready to occupy the space that I think the Tatas are going to start vacating gradually.
Interesting.
On both sides, in the consumer landscape, that Tata still even today means trust, right? As a consumer brand, just you don't buy from Tanishq. Maybe you do now, but in the beginning, you didn't buy from Tanishq because it was Tanishq. You bought it because it was a Tata enterprise, and so you were certain that if they're saying that this ornament that you're buying has 83 grams of gold, it will have 83 grams of gold. That trust matters a lot. The Birlas are positioning themselves to be that trusted brand, which takes a couple of decades. In Tata's case, it took centuries and just some of the best PR in the world. I'm not casting shade on Mr. Ratan Tata. He did a lot of wonderful things, but he was also on the Nira Radia tapes, right? Which the transcripts are available. Go look them up. That's how business is done here. I'm genuinely, I'm not casting shade on Mr. Tata. I have a lot of respect for him, but how else do you survive here? You, especially if you're leading a large conglomerate, there are so many touch points between you and the government and you and just society at large. There is going to be friction in so many places, and so you need these facilitators. You need these intermediaries. It can't be
And once you've done that, it becomes much easier for you to get into a new business, completely horizontal, completely unlinked than anyone
naturally.
else.
So that's the other half. Not only are the Birlas trying to supplant the Tata Group in the consumer psyche, they're also getting ready to do the same thing from the government's point of view. Okay, let me elaborate. If you were working in let's say the IT ministry, all right, and your mandate is to get a silicon fab here, in India. Y- You could take the longer, more uncertain route of trying to foster a venture ecosystem so
Yeah.
that comes about. That's not going to happen. You want $10 billion of capex. There are only 3 or 4
You just
names,
call them directly. Which
and
is how, yeah, we've seen the South Korea model, right?
yeah, exactly. So you have the Shibols, right? And even within the Shibols, you have larger ones who have cornered, who have done everything, and then you have smaller Shibols who have found their niches, which is crazy because each of these niches is a multi-billion-dollar business. But I think Birla is aiming for a larger part of that pie.
Like it's so okay. Without, I know it is inherently political to mention the two biggest business houses
I
in the
started
country,
with their names. Yeah,
but yeah, it has become inherently political. It seemed for the longest time they just weren't competing with each other at all, right? Except maybe in minor offshoots somewhere.
yeah.
They
To
were in
offset
entirely.
that, they were collaborating in some places as well.
So, which then also seems like by design, whether it is engineered by conversations involving the government also, ki, why don't you guys do this? You guys do this,
Mhm.
or within themselves talking like, what do you think, without even getting political about it.
From a game theory perspective, it makes sense. The whole reason they got into this business was because they don't like competition. Why would they now compete?
But is it as simple as that? Like, because infra, for example, like these are massive areas and different parts of the country where you have strengths and weaknesses for everyone, right?
Yeah.
But still deciding, no, I will not touch this area at all.
I would,
There's no way of knowing, right? I guess.
and there's no way of pinpointing which is the tail and which is the dog either.
Have you ever seen a dog? It's very easy.
Not in this case. So that's my hypothesis. I am most likely wrong, but that's all I could think of. The Aditya Birla logo is more visible even in the acquisitions that they're doing. Earlier, when they would acquire something, it would just be there, and the money would, the profits would accrue to them. There is branding now. The Yuacha in Bangalore has the Aditya Birla logo outside it.
I have a question for you, which is probably a much broader question, but what is the value of having a face to the family group, to the conglomerate? For example, the Tatas had a face for the longest time. Now they don't. Right.
Yeah.
Now, if you ask Tata Group, there's no, it's a trust, but there's no face to it like Ratan Tata was.
Yeah.
Kumar Mangalam Birla was the face for the
Is,
longest time, is
yeah.
still, right?
Yeah.
What's the value? What, in general, what do you think? There is a huge value, I would
Massive.
think. Massive, right?
Massive. That's part of the reason why the Tata Group is floundering so much now.
Exactly. Now what?
Huge strategic missteps, but they also need
They need a face?
a face. Yeah. This is a problem that political parties are very familiar. You cannot fight an election as a party. You need a face. And every time a party makes that mistake, they're going to pay for it. And the Tatas are paying for the same mistake.
How do they even counter this? Because also you need a surname. The Tata Group.
Not necessarily. I remember the Cyrus Mistry years.
Yeah.
It worked. It
Fair.
worked because of Mr. Ratan Tata's endorsement, but it worked. Their problems were internal. Externally, the passing of the mantle in the consumer psyche had happened. Okay, this is a family with long ties to the Tata Group. They understand the ethics of the group. They're not going to screw us over. Mr. Mistry is looking after things now. There was no dissonance there. There was no problem. The passing of the mantle can happen, but it has to be intentional, planned, and executed over years, which is what Mr. Birla is doing now. This is a really smart thing to do. So in the coming years, if you start seeing more and more PR of the next generation being more visible, of we're handling this, like all of us know which parts of the Reliance empire, which offspring is going to look after. That is masterful PR. Right? The markets need that, consumers need that, you need that stability. So that's the counterpoint to having a face, is that then you need to make sure that
You need to build up that face.
transitions happen smoothly. Mr. Ambani has already executed that. We all know who's going to inherit which part of the empire.
And who's getting all the leopards, but no. That means the Tata Group is in deep trouble.
Yes, it is. And I go back to what I said in that episode: break it up. The Tata name is a liability now for most of these businesses. Break it up. The ones that you want to keep, take them private, take them off the market, run them how you see fit, keep them in the opaque uh, Bombay House boardroom. Karo, jo karna hai. The ones that are public, just become a minority investor and get out of their way. Let them run things the way they want. Because the thing that kept the Tata Group going for the last 20 years was TCS and its cash engine that might be faltering now. Do you really want to find out if the SaaS apocalypse is real or not at the expense of the entire Tata Group? You don't want to do that, right? Decouple, let JLR go its own way, let TCS go its own way, let Titan go its own way. You have so much innovation in Titan despite Tata Sons involvement. Imagine how much better they would do if not for your constant interference. The Titan board, the largest shareholder, is in Tamil Nadu government, and they've done so much innovation because the Tamil Nadu government does not presume, apart from maybe local where factory should come up, things like that. Apart from those decisions, I'm sure they don't interfere in branding decisions, in capital allocation decisions, and they have done really well. They own a mid 30% share.
That is
in
amazing.
Titan.
I had no idea.
So Titan was
it's very cool.
originally
Yeah.
a joint venture between the Tata Group and the Tamil Nadu Factories Board or something.
Wow.
You know, that we have space here. What can you make? They're in aerospace. They make phenomenal stuff.
Yeah, I visited like so many. I visited Tamil, TCS, of course. TCS was doing a lot for like submarine control systems. Tata Advanced Materials was doing a lot for composites.
Yeah.
There's some fantastic work going on.
So the businesses that are strategically important, you want to keep the fab under direct control of Tata Sons, keep it private. You don't need to be accountable to anybody. But then you don't have public money also in your business. Do what you want to do. Simple premise. Hai.
So, last question to you on this point is that we did our episode, it's been 6 months. You said it very clearly 6 months ago, Nitesh. Why aren't they listening to you?
Because nobody sent this episode to the Tata board.
Sorry, distribution is on me.
So in closing, I would keep a close eye on what the Birla Group is doing in the listed companies, which of course will be reported in due time, but also the other half, the soft half of it, the PR, the new verticals they expand into, things like that. It's to capture a larger mind share of ours, and nothing nefarious. The space is there for you, and if a scam 92 comes out of it, that's wonderful, you know. But yeah, I would keep a closer eye on where the Aditya Birla Group goes next.
Great.
So that's it.
I think that's a good space to end the episode then.
I still want to end with a recommendation because I recently realized that there are people who haven't seen Malcolm in the Middle. Have you seen Malcolm in the Middle?
Couple of seasons, not the whole thing.
All right. So the reason the pilot episode of Breaking Bad was so jarring for a lot of us was because we knew Hal from Malcolm in the Middle, where he is the bumbling but mostly kind-hearted dad. And even here, he starts in that dad character, you know. And suddenly, by the end, you see him cooking meth. Malcolm in the Middle is great writing, really funny. One of the best portrayals of marriage that I've seen. I have been married a long time now. It's a great show. So that's my recommendation. They're doing a spin-off, sequel, something.
Yeah.
It's coming up now. I'm not
Let
talking
things
about
die.
that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the original.
Let things die. Have you seen the Harry Potter teaser trailer?
I am excited for it because that will be my daughter's Draco Malfoy and Severus Snape. And I hope they don't screw the pooch.
I will not see anything associated with J.K. Rowling now anyhow. But even then, it looks terrible. It looks bland. And it looks dark. Why does everything look so dark?
That's the HBO influence.
I remember waiting for that White Walkers episode, season 8, episode 3, Game of Thrones.
Don't bring up Game of Thrones.
Right. And 1.5 hours, Miguel Sapochnik directing, Miguel Sapochnik directed all the good war episodes of Game of
Game of
Thrones
Thrones,
forever.
yeah.
And then all I'm doing is like, can I see something? कुछ हो रहा है क्या?
Brightness बढ़ा
कुछ हो रहा है? Brightness was on 100 all the time. Brightness was on 100 for any Game of Thrones episode before the episode started. पता था मुझे. फिर भी. That is, yeah. This
I wanted to end on a happy note. You talking about the season finale of Game of Thrones. क्या बोलूं?
नहीं होता,
No,
नहीं होता.
I changed my mind. You're not welcome in Bangalore except for recordings. Please go back to wherever you came.
Go back to your unhappy Game of Thrones life. See you guys. See you
Alright.
guys next time.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.